All right, everybody. Welcome. Today is our presentation on Google Meet and how to use that. So forgive us for the little technical difficulties. We are working through it, and there are two of us who are here today presenting for you. So I've got myself and Tim. And so we're going to learn about a little tool called Google Meet and how that can integrate with your classroom and other wonderful tools. So before we do, I have some happiness to you, and I was debating on whether to bring this up or not. So I was ironing my shirt and wrapping the ironing cord around the base of the iron. And every time I would let a little slack, it would unravel. And so I kept having to try to grab it where it was, and it aggravates me to have to rewrap it over and over again when that happens. And it happened twice. So apparently I don't know how to wrap a cord around an iron. And so anyway, I immediately thought how that could feel like what the school year is for so many teachers right now. And so as teachers, we like to be in control of our classroom. We're so used to, classroom management and being able to direct the direction our classroom goes. And so sometimes you just have to grab on and just wrap from where you are. Wherever you catch that cord, grab on and just start wrapping and move forward from there. And so anyway, good afternoon. Hello, Lawanda and Jamie. We are glad you guys are here. So we're going to go ahead and hop right in. And if you're here from Livingston Parish, we want you to do the link to do attendance. So go ahead and go to tinyurl.com, and it's /LPPS attendance. tinyurl.com /LPPS attendance. I'm also going to put that in the comments so you can copy and paste. So it should be in the comments as well if you want to copy and paste. If you have your cell phone handy, there's a little QR code that you could scan with your phone, and it should take you to the form on the phone as well. Okay. So again, thank you. A little bit of housekeeping. If you have questions, go ahead and type them into the chat that's at the side of your screen. And if we don't get to your questions, we are going to share our emails at the end so that you can email us. And I know all the teachers participating this week in Tech Week are available to email and help. And you'll have these available on YouTube till like September 30th. Yes. And we'll be adding things in comments like extra links or something if those are needed later on. Absolutely. So check back. Absolutely. Check back because the links will stay live if you need to come back and watch or see a skill. Okay. We also in the description are going to have our link to the presentation we created. So that will also be available with some step-by-step instructions. So you can definitely check in the description of the video. Yeah. So my name is Casey Mostow. I'm a teacher at Doyle High School, and I teach science. And this is... Hi, I'm Kim Kenton. I teach science also at Springfield Middle School, 7th and 8th grade. Awesome. So we're going to go ahead and get started. So Kim is going to go ahead and take us to our objectives. All right. In this session, we would like to cover why to use Google Meet. You have other options out there also, but everything has its place, and this definitely has a place that you can use it. We're going to go over the general how-to, how to set up office hours and add to a calendar, integrating it through Google Classroom. We're going to also cover teacher control and safety. Then we'll give you some extra extensions and other things that you can use it on, like Jamboard and things like that. We'll also cover hands-on and how you can create a meet and a practice. All right, so why Google Meet? There's pros and cons just like for everything. It will integrate with your Google Classroom, where if you were here yesterday, I covered Google Classroom with you yesterday morning. I'll be doing another session tomorrow morning. But this integrates perfectly into it, and if you do already use Google Classroom, you may have already seen the tab there. You can share your screen just like you do on Zoom. It's easy to share recordings, take attendance, set up meets through the calendar, which I'll show you. And that's good because your students could use that also to set up for group work or assignments that they might want to work through at home. Up to 250 participants until September 30th. Okay. The cons is it doesn't have all the features of Zoom, such as virtual backgrounds, breakout rooms, which I really like the breakout rooms, but there are extensions that you might find to use that for.
It does have some really amazing updates coming. We're just not sure if they're going to be where you have to pay for them or if they'll be added into the Google Suite. We do not have the, what's the name of the one?
Yes, and I believe the Breakout Room extension is only going to be available in Enterprise, and I do not think our district is a Google Enterprise district.
The Suite.
Right. So there are alternative ways you could definitely create some breakout rooms. Right. It's a little more work, but I have seen teachers do that when they didn't have the option. In Zoom, you definitely have the availability to go straight to a breakout room. So, so there's some big differences there.
Yes. These updates, though, are only available, like I was telling you, for the paid Google Enterprise version, which at this point we do not have. Okay? So before we actually get into creating a Meet outside of the Google Classroom, I want to go over with you how to set up a Google Classroom real quick, just so that you can have that available to see how to do the actual Meet. Okay, let me get to that slide in this presentation. All right, if you'll find the waffle in the top right-hand side of your screen, you may have to open it to a new tab to see it. Let me go, I'll open a new tab so you can actually see what I'm talking about. So there's the waffle. All right, you click on the waffle, there's the classroom. Again, if you haven't used this before, you may have to scroll down to find it down here or in your Google Suite. But after you've used it repeatedly, it shows up at the top. And the good thing is about this too, if I haven't already showed you or somebody else hasn't, you can arrange these in whichever order you want that you actually use them the most. Okay, so if you would go ahead and click on Google Classroom. Okay, having some slow time here. Now mine's going to come up and it's going to show you all kinds of classes. If you haven't got any set up, then yours is just going to have this top banner, and that plus sign is what you're looking for. Okay, you want to click on that and click Create Class. All right, I've already created one, so I'm going to go ahead and open it. Let me go ahead, I'll click on this for just the purposes of helping you see how to do it. Put your class name. If you want to do section and all that, it's just for practice right now. It's up to you, and go ahead and hit create. Okay, now I'm going to open that practice class. Okay, so now we get to, if you look right here in your heading, you have a Meet link, and it says Generate Meet Link. I don't want to do that yet, but keep that in mind that that's there. All right, go to your settings button. Scroll down just a little ways underneath the general settings, and you'll see the Meet section. All right, here you can also generate the Meet link, but this little button right here is very important because right now my students cannot see how to click into a Meet, and that's got its pros and its cons. Okay, we'll go over that too, but I'm going to open it up. First, I'm going to generate a Meet link. Now it's visible to my students. There's my Meet link. Let me save that. Okay. Now you see there's a Meet link here available. If you go into class work, which is where I send my students like, there's the Meet. Now they can click on that and they can access, this is one of the down things, they can access it without you letting them in. All they got to do is click on and they're in there. Okay, so be careful with that, and we'll go over some suggestions on that in just a moment. All right, so once you have the Meet link actually set up, again, they can click on it from there, and it takes you into the Meet link, into the actual meeting. Okay, I'm going to come off of that for just a second. I want to show you how you can schedule that Meet in the calendar here. Okay, so underneath class work, here's your Google Calendar. This is one way you can do it. Casey's going to share something else with you also. So on Google Calendar here, create. And here's where you can add your title. I'm going to put Meet on, and I'm just going to put Rock Cycle because that's one of the things my students use. Okay. And here's the date. I'm going to just leave it as this, but if you need to change it, all you have to do is click on this here and you can change the time zone, you can change the date. There's the times, you just click on each and change it. You can add a guest if you would like another teacher to attend with you and help moderate or help to actually participate. Okay, does not repeat, or if it's something you're going to do daily or weekly, you can adjust that also. Please make sure you're in the right time zone.
Yes.
Because you can make that mistake very easily. All right, so add Google Meet video conferencing. Click that. All right, and you can see it even tells you up to 250 participants. All right, Casey, would you like to add something?
Sure, and if you scroll down, Kim, in that window, if you guys will see the options there towards the bottom, there's even a live stream option. I know several teachers at the high school level are discussing using a live stream version here in order to, I guess, project their screens to their students who are going to be at home on that day. That way that student is getting live interaction and seeing what the teacher is teaching to the A students. And so those B students can then see that. So you could always copy, if you clicked on that live stream, it gives you a different link. And if you copied that link and posted that to your Google Classroom, those students are going to be able to come in and click that link, and they will be able to actually see what you are teaching that day as a live stream. So that's really neat. And you can also record these, and we'll show you that in a moment, and post those later to your classroom.
And now, here's descriptions too, and you can actually add attachments if you want them to have certain documents during that time.
Yes. And so we're going to go up and click on that meeting ID Meet link real quick and show you what ends up happening here from your end as the teacher. So you're going to get this screen popping up, and it's going to give you a minute to configure, and it's going to give you an option to join. So you are not in the meeting at this screen. And that's important to know because right now your students cannot see you. So you do have to join the Meet. And once you join the Meet, to live stream, you will have to click another button at the top of the screen. And you can see it says the organizer scheduled this meeting to be streaming. And so if you want your students to be able to tune in with that live streaming link, you're going to have to click on the Start Streaming button. Okay, and so once you do that, then you can start streaming, and now your students will be able to see what you are doing. Now, teachers don't always want their face. Kim has a really cute add-on for confetti, which I love, but teachers don't always want their face on there, so we have a Present Now version at the bottom. If you click on Present Now, you have several options for what you can actually present. So you can present your entire screen to the students, and you do have to click on it and then click Share. And that way your students can see what you are putting on the board. So if you are going over a PowerPoint or some type of instruction where you are using an interactive platform, maybe you're even presenting a virtual lab or something of that nature, they will be able to see what you are presenting. And so then Kim would go and click on whatever tab she wants to present, like if she wants to show you her Google Classroom or whatever it is, and then the student would see that particular thing that's on her screen. So that's really a neat little way to use Meet to live stream to your students. Okay, so those are definitely some options for creating that.
Yes, and once it's on your calendar, now the students have access to that through their Google Classroom. So that's an option too. Now there's also another way you can set that up without actually being in your Google Classroom. Casey, did you want to cover that part?
Yeah, I'll show that. So for this particular portion, if you go to the tab where Google is, you can actually access the calendar without going into your classroom. So you can set up office hours. This was something that we thought was really neat. If I want to have, for example, office hours, and this is probably better for a fully virtual setting where you're fully distance learning, because obviously if we're alternating students, you always have students with you. You can't really set up office hours per se during the day for your parents to come tune in and get to you.
But it would be good office hours, let's say, especially like with math teachers, if you have a lesson that was pretty hard that day or you saw some difficulties, you could let all your students know whether they were there virtually or in class. Today, between 5 and 6 o'clock, I'm going to be in a Google Meet. Feel free to join me and I will review this lesson with you and give you some extra guidance. So it could be useful for that also.
So after you select the time for your office hours, if you wanted to do this, you have an option here with a drop-down menu. It says does not repeat right now, but you could set this up for daily, weekly, or you can customize it. And so you could go in, and here's an every weekday, Monday to Friday. So this time frame would provide a link to your calendars that would allow you to share that link in your Google Classrooms or on your Google site. And then parents can tune in if they have questions during that hour, or students can jump in during that hour and ask questions about assignments that you have pushed out. Okay, so this is more for if I want to set this up for a daily thing for students to come in and get help with the assignments that they're doing outside of class that they're struggling with. Okay.
All right. If you have some really tech-savvy students, and some of us do, then you may not would want to leave that link where they could actually get to it on a regular basis. So go back to your settings again, because once the meeting's over, they could actually still access it with Zoom, with Meet, because they have that ability through their history possibly. So you might want to go back here and hit reset, and then that meeting is gone, and hide it. And then hit the hide button to hide it. And then you would have to start a new, mine's not resetting well.
Figures.
Okay.
It's working.
Then you would have to generate a new meeting the next time, which I really would prefer to have a new meeting rather than the same one over and over again also.
Right. It's definitely an added security feature to do this. Google was supposed to work on this so that when you generated a link to a Meet through your classroom, it would not allow students in before you as the teacher. So I will address a few questions that have popped up in a lot of the learning networks I'm a part of online. And teachers were saying students can get into this Google Meet without me being in the Meet first. And so there's 5 kids sitting in there together with no supervision. And so as teachers, instantly we go, we don't want that happening. We are not okay with students being unsupervised, even though they're in their classrooms, because who knows what's up on their screens, right? Exactly. So there are some security things as teachers that I know we want to watch out for. And so either resetting the link and hiding the new one is a great idea, or you could create what's called a nickname for a link. So another way to show and access and create a Meet is to click on the waffle, and you will see there is a Meet application down here in the selection pane. So if you don't see it, again, scroll down like Kim showed earlier, and then once you use it a few times, it will pop up. So if I were to click on Meet, what it's going to do from there is bring you to a very generic page. So on this page, you get the option to join or start a Meet. So this, what I'm about to show you, was a solution to a lot of those teachers' issues with students hopping in early. So what they would do is they would come to this page, which again, you can get to it from the waffle, or you can type meet.google.com and it will open this page for you. Something really cute is these images change every time that you come to this page. So there's something new. Yeah, and from this page, you can see you've got some other options at the top. Before I move into that, it takes you to support. So if you have questions about Google Meet, you can actually click on that. I'm going to call it a lightning bolt, and it will take you to an admin help, which is a really neat feature. Another thing you have are your settings. So if you click on the gear, you have a way to test if your microphone is working. You have a way to test if your speakers are working, and then also if your video is working. Okay, so from there, you can even click here and send some feedback. Hey, Google, why don't you think about doing this or adding this to me? And they really appreciate teacher input, and they're making changes based on teacher input. And then, of course, this is your account. So if you need to switch your account and go to a different account, you can do that. So you're going to click on Join or Start a Meeting. And then what some teachers will do is they will create the new code from this page, and they will call it Moscow 13624. Some random nickname, okay? And then they will continue, and it's going to open eventually, because it always takes a second to configure, it is going to open a little page where it's telling me no one else is here. Hi, everybody. No one else is here. Here is my Meet link or my code, my nickname. And so once I join it, it is then going to pop up and show my screen again. Hopefully we don't get some feedback. And then I can actually copy and paste this link, or I can just give the students this nickname. Make the nickname include some numbers or something different, because if you did a nickname and you call the nickname Star, and another teacher in Pennsylvania is doing a meet with the nickname Star, you're all in the same meet. Okay, so that is another thing about Google, that you do want your nicknames to be unique. So make sure you go ahead and you put that in. But you could copy the joining info. You can add people straight from here, and you can start typing and inviting people. This is another great tool for just interaction. The other day, Nikki and I had to work on something, and so we just pulled up Google Meet and jumped on together so we could see each other's screens and collaborate. So let's say that you have a teacher that you work with at school, and they have an issue with something with their computer. Google Meet allows you to see their screen, because then that teacher can present their screen and you can kind of see what they're doing and what they're saying.
Or likewise, if you have a student that's texted you or emailed you, I didn't understand this today. Can you give me a little refresher real quick? Or even another student can interfere, can talk to each other.
Yeah.
You know, as a review that afternoon, or help with homework or something like that.
So it really is a neat feature. Some good tips is to have your students mute their microphones when they hop in. Keep their videos on so that you can see them face to face and have that personal, as much of that personal connection as we can. Let's talk about ending the meet.
Yes.
Because we had a few issues with people ending the meet and students being left in there to play. Okay,
Yes.
So you want to mention that, what the students need to do?
Well,
Or you want me to take it?
yeah.
So you see this red button at the bottom?
Yes.
This is looks like a telephone, because this is video conferencing. And what you want your students to do when you're finished. Bye, students, it was great to see you. Or
have
maybe,
a great afternoon.
Yeah, you just wrapped up your virtual lesson and you shared your screen, and now you're ready for them to go, right? And you need to hang up and all that. If me as the teacher, if I click this red button, my students are still in that meet. Now, a lot of them will click the red button and leave, but if they stay, they get to stay and they get to play. And I don't think we want that.
And you're held accountable.
And, you know, they're in there. And so one of the things you can do is you can come up to this little people tab that's at the top, and it tells you how many people are in there. And if you click on that people tab, it will pull up all the people listed here. So all my students show up. Okay. And what I want to do is, if I had a student, there would actually be some dots over here that I would click.
Just like the three at the bottom of the screen down here.
It would look just like this. So I'm actually going to hop on
to
that meet. Yeah, and I want to show you guys what that would look like, because that's a really important safety feature that you would like, or you really want to use.
Well,
because
you know we're held responsible if they go in there after we're gone and we left them unattended.
Okay, so I'm going to click on, I'm on my screen now, and I'm joining Kim's meet, and I'm going to join into her class. So Moscow 13624, and if I have that nickname, I'm going to also pop in, and I have to join first. Actually, you guys could join from home right now if you wanted to.
Oh, we can see
if you do, that would be wonderful. But
yeah, don't. We're not going to see anybody doing this virtually.
We can't see you. We're straight.
So here you see Casey.
There we go.
Can I still hear us?
No, because you're muted.
And here's the three.
But I mean it.
Okay. Now, let's try again.
So sorry, guys. Always have a little something crazy happening.
Here's the down arrow, though, and here's where I can remove Casey if I need to remove a student. Or Casey would be a good student. If there was a student I need to remove that was hanging out afterwards. Okay? And then I'm ready to leave after I have them. And again, just to refresh your memory, it was right here. You see now, she just left out.
Just left.
But the people said 2 while she was in here. Okay? That's where you would go to get them off, and then I'm gonna go ahead and hit out of this. Okay.
Okay, so yeah, we're gonna hop back over to some other little features that Meet has. But that's the gist, to make sure you remove those students from the Meet if they choose not to leave. And honestly, for the most part, our students, the students for the most part are not going to sit there and
No, they're ready to go.
yeah, they're not going to hang out, but sometimes they get up and they walk away and they don't realize they have to press that little red telephone. So tell them to press that little red telephone or just remove them with the dots like Kim showed. That's
well,
important.
And again, here's what we might want to mention. You probably want to have some type of technology disclaimers that you want to just give with all your virtual videos. Make sure that you put that in before you start. I would have them sign one in class and maybe even have it posted on your class wall somewhere. But make sure they see that every time you start, either whether it's Meet, Screencastify, whatever you're using, have that disclaimer because they're still responsible for their behavior.
Yes, and that was something we had discussed. We weren't sure if the district was going to generate some expected behaviors for us to share with students and parents. There are some great ideas out there already. If you are a Facebook user or a Twitter user or anything like that, definitely network with other teachers. I know there's a Google teacher group on Facebook, and I have learned pretty much almost everything I know about Google Classroom.
Self-taught.
Yeah, through that group.
And you might really want to sit down with your coworkers and maybe even your school and set up a school-wide disclaimer. That way everyone's saying the same thing.
Okay? Absolutely. Okay, so now we'll look at, we've shown you how to create the Meet outside of Google Classroom using the waffle. So we've also talked about integrating that from the calendar, and then we've shown you how you can use that in Google Classroom. And again, the Google Classroom feature is supposed to prevent students from hopping on before you. It's still a good practice to make sure you get into that Google Meet session before any students see the link, okay? Click it, go to it, open it on your computer first, and then post the link for the students to see so that you are the one really in control.
And the only way that anyone else could actually get into that meeting is if somehow someone shares that link with them. Okay, which can happen, which is again why the disclaimer needs to be part of your video conferences.
Yeah, make sure your students have those expectations. And again, if you notice somebody is in there, have your students, understand that if they're sharing that link, then there's discipline, there's consequences for that. And this is just an extension of our classroom. Everything we do digitally is an extension of our classroom. And so we set those expectations early so that our students understand what they are. And you can always remove a student from the Meet, put them in a timeout if they're not listening, or if some random person hops in, remove them. And you do have to monitor that. That is definitely part of our responsibility.
And I had that happen to me. I got bombed by someone, but I'm pretty sure one of my students actually shared the password, because they can't get the password just randomly.
So outside of this Meet, okay, let's go back to it and show you the record feature as well. And I'm just going to join and start, give the code again, Moscow and 3, it doesn't really matter what it is. Okay. From here, when I join in, you're going to have some options to video record the session so you can post it for your students later. And let's go through these bottom choices real quick, okay? So if you look at this bottom feature and you click the up arrow, you've got the details of your meeting, and then you've got some attachments if you attach them ahead of time. So Google Calendar attachments, that's where you can add files or
links. We showed you that back when we were setting up the meeting.
Yes, so you can go to Calendar and add some attachments to this meeting. You can also copy the joining info and email it to someone if you'd like. Here you can mute yourself, which was what we wanted to do earlier when we were killing your ears, so excuse that. Of course, this is where you end the call. This portion turns off your camera completely, so you cannot be seen.
I have an avatar set up.
Yes.
Or just a gray circle that would show up.
Yes. So our students can also do this. They can turn their cameras off. And so I know a lot of teachers, we're probably going to tell them, keep your cameras on so we can see your face. We want to know you're participating.
Correct.
Because when you do this, you don't know if that student is actually participating or not.
Or off texting someone.
Off texting and not paying attention. So we want their cameras probably on, and then we want their microphones muted until it's their time to share. And that's going to prevent all the background noise and all the craziness with dogs barking and parents yelling and whatever it is. Absolutely. From here, I can turn on captions, which is another wonderful feature because you will start to see my words pop up at the bottom. So this is a great feature for any of your hearing impaired students, parents, or other teachers. Okay, so that's a great feature. We can in effect. From here, we already showed how to present the screen. And then let's look at the snowman under more options all the way to the right side. So here where you click the snowman, you can come up and actually record this meeting. You can change the layout. You can go full screen. You've got all these little settings here as well. Okay, so recording the meeting's neat because it will ask for consent first. And so again, get with your principal and make sure that you guys have all of these consent forms decided as to how you're doing this. Accept that, yes, we have permission to do this meet. And you'll see the record icon pop up at the top. And so that's how you know.
And just make sure that y'all know if there's a student that hasn't turned in the proper paperwork and signatures for that you know how to address that with them individually.
And then stop recording. Now, the only reason you would really use this is if you, hello. So if we change the layout, let's see what happens when we change the layout here. We have it on grid view, and this is one of the issues I have found with Google is that even though they tell us right here in the little snowman, even though they tell us we can change the layout, I have personally had issues with getting everybody to pop up. It's not doing it, and I'm not sure what's going on with that, if that's just a setting they have for there. But to stop recording, you just click back on the snowman and go all the way to the top where it says stop the recording.
And please make sure you do that even before you start kicking the students out.
Because
if they do stay in there, you don't want them to have the recording to put on Instagram or something.
So stopping the recording is going to save it into your Google Drive. So
that's a very good
Kim,
feature.
do you want to go to drive.google and show them where to access this?
Okay. So here's my drive, and you're going to see everything I have in there. So if you go to hold on a second. It's taking a little while to come up.
So she's going into her Google Drive, and she can either go, will you click on My Drive real quick and show them? There should be a folder generated at some point with your Meet recordings, and Google is supposed to do it automatically. Kim uses Google a lot, as you can see. So she's got lots and lots of folders. Oh, and you know what? You know what's an issue sometimes? The reason it's not showing up is because it's doing that converting. It always probably takes about 3 to 5 minutes before the video is really available.
Because it has to convert it to the correct format.
Yes. So it won't be available within like a split second like we're looking for it. But you do have...
I can't show you that.
Yeah, so it might take us a minute to come back and show you guys.
We'll move on and come back to it.
Okay, so we've talked about controlling. We've talked about some safety features. And do you have a Meet? Can you go back to your Meet and show them the extensions you added on all the way to the right? Okay, so here we are. So Kim went and found some cute extensions in the Google extension store, which you can just go to google.com and search for extensions and then type in Meet. And so Kim, throw some confetti, Kim, and show them how cute this is. Okay, so confetti is so cute, and you've got lots of different fun things you can do here. If the students have this, then you can actually have them raise their hand or give a thumbs up or do some emojis if this is an extension they add onto their computers. I'm pretty sure there's some safety features and not everything is going to be allowed.
And there's settings for these too. If you'll look here, turn on notifications, check for updates. You can choose skin tone. And here's my extensions. I'm not sure if y'all can see because they're kind of small. I'm not sure if they're showing up on yours. But there's the extensions here also. There's my Bitmoji, also Screencastify. If you're not familiar with extensions, that's where they're at. And that little puzzle piece, if you click on that puzzle piece, you can see all the ones I have installed.
Yes.
Okay.
We found a neat one, which, Kim, I'm not sure if it's installed on yours. Do you have a Meet attendance on yours?
I do. I have Google Meet attendance. I'm not sure.
This one's neat because the enterprise version of Meet that will be coming out very soon is the paid version.
Go ahead.
Okay, and what ends up happening with the paid version is it will track Meet attendance for you. The Google Meet add-on Meet attendance is actually neat because you can click a little spreadsheet from within your Google Meet, and it will actually record the attendance to your Google Sheets area, and you can go back and click into your drive and find that Google Sheet to have a list of who attended at what time. So that's another neat, a neat little
This is
feature.
kind of what it looks like. Look at that. All these people are here.
So Heather is saying that students can auto join when they are in our Edu domain. So they are a part of our domain with the Livingston Parish credentials, and so those students will be able to join, but outside people cannot. So that's another added feature for us. Yes, safety features for our students. Okay, I think we're getting ready to wrap up. I had one more neat thing I wanted to show you, and so I am going to leave up Meet for this Meet tab for just a minute because I want to show you something neat. If you did not know, Google also provides in the waffle, in our Google apps, if you click on the waffle and scroll down, you will have this little icon for Jamboard. So I would like to show you a little bit about Jamboard, and it's not Meet, but if you do not have a digital platform for whiteboarding, this is a great option to have a whiteboard open if you want to share your screen and show students how to do certain math problems. So there's a little plus sign over here at the bottom right-hand side of your screen that you will click under Jamboard. And it's generating, essentially, it almost looks like a slideshow. Think of it like a little slideshow, except
almost like a smartboard.
Yeah, it's just, it's a whiteboard. It's a whiteboard and you can flip through pages. So you can actually click this little arrow at the top of the screen and add more pages essentially to it. And so what some teachers have done is they have snipped like one question and put it here. And then, sure, and then this little pen piece here allows you to come over and actually write on your screen, okay? So you can actually show some math problems to your students. There are ways here you can add an image. So if you snipped a problem that you wanted to work together through your Google Meet, what you would do is you would come over to Meet and click on Present Now, and then you can either choose a specific Chrome tab. And so I can come in and actually choose my Jamboard tab, and I can share just that tab to the Meet. And so now I'm in Jamboard and I'm able to write whatever I want and the students can follow along. And so it's a type of digital whiteboard for your classroom. So that's another neat thing. Now, when I'm ready to stop sharing, click back over to your Meet tab at the top of the screen and click on Stop Presenting. And when you click on Stop Presenting, now it's coming back to your camera, okay? So you could definitely use Jamboard as a way to interact and show problem solving to students.
Let me see if I can find it again. I just saw it when you pulled it up a while ago real quick.
Go to click the top and type in jamboard.google.com.
I have one set up from whenever we did it in another session.
So Kim's showing you something she had made on Jamboard, and this is something you could share and present to your students while you're doing a Meet.
Right. How could you use this app in your classroom? I can have them label things, and I put up a blank copy of a digestive system, and then the students could actually come in and write in and annotate the answers in here for you. So, or you could even put one of your interactive worksheets.
Yes, and actually that's a great point because I was thinking you could take little snippets of your worksheet. I have not found how you can resize the Jamboard yet, but you could take little snippets of a worksheet, little images, little parts of it, put it in Jamboard, and then I believe you can share Jamboard so that each student gets a copy, and it's almost like another interactive worksheet, but in a way where they can annotate. But you would have to set it up.
If you use Google Classroom, it shows you how whenever you set up an assignment, you would do it the same way. and you set your assignment up, and let's say you wanted to add
you can go to your Google Drive and find that Jamboard too.
Yeah, you can do that.
Just search Jamboard at the top. Search feature, guys, is a time saver. And so it will pull up all the Jamboards that she's already created.
I'm going to insert that as a lesson. Now, right here, I want to make sure that I make a copy for each student. That way they can all actually do that. And then I could use this in my Meet.
Yeah, you could use it in your Meet, and the students could open their Jamboard. That is now their copy of the Jamboard, and they could work it with you. They could split screen, and that's a really cool feature. So back to our Meet, and we're going to go ahead and show you a few things here. Now, we're going to flip forward and look at some other things. Breakout rooms, I think we had mentioned. So Google Meet right now is not providing breakout rooms.
We covered this with y'all already. I'm sorry.
Yeah, we're just flipping. Zoom does allow breakout rooms. And so it is going to depend on what you want to use your video conferencing for. I had teachers tell me that they wanted to just stay within one platform to keep it simple for themselves and the parents. I personally, I'm presenting unbiased on this presentation because I've used Zoom for so long that I'm comfortable with that and will probably continue to use Zoom.
Me also.
Yeah, and then I'll just use Meet to set up any virtual office hours depending on our situation.
Well, and so it would be good if like you're in the middle of class and something comes up that you won't ever want, you can push that out to everyone real quick. That you could do that.
Absolutely. So we've just showed you Jamboard. And then let's talk breakout rooms. So I want to give you some ideas here because breakout rooms can actually be generated by you. And the idea here is to go into your calendar and create 4 different Meet links.
Correct.
Okay. Now, let me show you what you can do. You can open a Google Doc or you can open a Google Sheets. And then you can come in here and insert the links to those 4 different Meets you created. After that point, and so we're going to do a new one. Sheets.new. Try that. Sheets.new. Okay. I could paste my Google link, my Meet link first here. And it's still loading. It's taking just a second. Thank you guys for your patience.
Your technology.
We're almost finished. We're about to wrap it up. But let's say I have my first Meet link here. I'm just going to pretend like I just pasted a hyperlink in there. And then these particular students that I assign this breakout group to would be in that first group. So I could actually type 4 students' names here. And I could say, you guys are in breakout group number 1. And then I can paste my second Meet link. And then what you can do is you can keep doing that, create breakout rooms. You can share this sheet with your students, or you can share the link with just those 4 students in Google Classroom. Correct. So when you go to assign the material, you can use the little drop-down menu where it says students, and you can just select the 4 students that are getting that link. That way they're not all seeing the link.
Yeah, it depends on your students. Can you trust them not to go into the other students' links?
Right.
So just because I have middle school students, I would actually set up a Google Classroom assignment for just those 4 students with that link, and then set up another Google Classroom assignment for the next 4 with just that link.
Yeah, and so what ends up happening though is you have 4 breakout rooms going at one time. You can always open 4 different tabs, 4 different windows. And you can actually join those 4 Meets. And
you can monitor.
Yeah, you can mute your microphone and you can have 4 windows open on your screen and you are hearing what those students are saying, or you are participating, turn your volume down, and just monitoring to make sure they are okay. So there are definitely ways around that. However, it's not an automatic feature in Google Meet.
If you're not sure how to do that, just real quick, what you would do is you would set up the split screen, for those of you who are familiar with that, and you just drag out each of your meetings. You would set them up like this so that you could see all 4 of them. And all I did was I grabbed the tab that I was on, pull that out, and then I could set up all my meetings that I need to monitor that way. Okay? And then if you want to put them back in, you just drag them back over.
So outside of that, I think we are almost ready to wrap up.
All right.
I think so. Yeah, so we will go ahead. I'm going to end this meet. Bye, everybody who hopped on. Let's see, just one person, so it's just us. I'm going to end the meet. I'm going to close it out, and then I'm going to hop over and thank you guys so much for attending. We will probably post a link well, there's the extension store, but the link to this presentation is in the description of our YouTube video. So you will be able to go click on it, and then those links inside of the presentation are interactive. So then you could actually click on those links and go to the specific web pages.
And it's set up where you make a copy of the presentation so it would be okay for you to make changes to it.
All right, so the last thing we need you to do is complete this survey here at tinyurl.com/LPPS Tech Week. And so I just put that into the comment section for you if you want to copy and paste that into your web browser.
Or there's this QR code.
Or the QR code. Absolutely. So if you guys will fill that out for us and give us some feedback. And this was Tuesday's session on Google Meet at 12. So if you will just select that from the drop-down menu, we would greatly appreciate it. If you have questions, don't forget that you can email both Kim and I. Our emails are right there on the screen.
Right. When we end this session within the next few seconds, we'll go put that same survey link into our description so that you can access it there, just in case you miss it now.
And actually, I think it is populated there now. So if you want to go click on it and that's up, you could do that as well. So thank you guys so much for joining us. Please send us any questions.
Have fun next week.
Yep. All right. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.